All right, good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. It is now 51 minutes after 9 here on this Friday, the 11th of July. Almost said January. 11th of July. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to StormTALK. It's embedded in your brain. Sometimes doesn't want to ever leave. It is StormTALK. No need to panic. Daily weather block where we have a chance to look at not only the long term, but certainly if there's anything pressing in the short term, which in this case we do have a front that will be tracking into the weekend that will sort of go through the area. I think it's going to take a little bit of a vacation over us for a few days. But a stronger front is showing up as we head into the extended and even stronger one after that. And that's all before we even say hello to August. So there's a lot of moving and a shaking going on. But the good news about it, and this is something that shouldn't shock you if you've been paying attention to the blog, as we've been talking about how the summer setup, while it featured spells of heat, would end up trending more so on the near or even below normal on temperature and the overall scheme of things when you look at the end result of how summer played out, just because of the repeated pattern of fronts coming into the Ohio Valley. And right now, I'm not seeing a big snap in that happening. That could still happen in August, don't get me wrong. All it takes, especially in the tropics, get a little more active, and then we kind of are off our game a bit. But at least in the short term, what you see is what you're going to get more of in the days ahead. So, as always, you guys can comment on the social media side. I know ZK, Amy, known Amy a long time. Years and years, Amy. Thank goodness. TGIF, you're right. Thank goodness it's Friday. I agree with you. Okay, so let's dive into it. Let me show you a nice look to the sunrise we had this morning over into Corydon. Nice and bright outside. Didn't get as many downpours as I was really hoping we get, because I'm really hoping to get rain in my yard. Yeah, they were all just around the parkways, and we got off to a good start yesterday around Shelby County, but after that, yeah, it just kind of fizzled, right? So today, if anything, we would actually feature a lower rain chance on the pop-ups that can develop. So yeah, today is nearly a lock on it being dry, and therefore could even be a degree or two hotter as well. Kelly says, hello, I'm late. It's okay, Kelly. I just started. I've been running behind, as always am, but I'm running behind certainly today. So you're just in time. All right, just in time. Hello to Blue. Good to see you on YouTube here this morning. Again, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, you guys can comment there. So if you're watching on streaming, you're like, where is the button to talk to them? We don't have that functionality yet for the app or on Fire Stick, but I'm hoping that that will something that will eventually come to light. Okay, 81 degrees in Louisville now. Been a very warm night once again, 79 into Munfordville, hello down in Hart County. Nice and quiet on the satellite. Didn't have as much fog either this morning as your typical valleys and riverbanks area. So today, again, we'll feature more of those scattered cumulus clouds. All right, yesterday, we didn't get a chance to talk about this. This came out right at the end of the blog, but they added, technically it's not a drought. It's a very low-end drought status placer that's there, which is D0, which stands for abnormally dry. My yard is abnormally dry. So it's really just a very low-end category before you get into drought. Really with drought, once you get into moderate, that's technically a drought at that point. Anyway, the signs are showing up just north of Louisville. All right, first off, this is not too shocking given that we've had some longer gaps in rainfall so far in the late spring, early summer season. As I've said before, you can't go longer than a week. You start to run into problems. And this is an area that's highlighted. However, as if you guys remember, if you've been watching the blog for years, is that the drought monitor, they sample the ground on Tuesdays and the report comes out on Thursday. Well, there was rain actually on Wednesday that fell in this exact corridor. So next week, we have to wait all the way to next Thursday to see what impact that had. But we still have more rain this weekend that could influence the same spot. So this could completely disappear is what I'm trying to say. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I don't think it's anything to panic about or worry about. We're going to get into a drought. I do not see that threat right now showing up based on how active the pattern is. So you can relax on that end. This is one of the systems, one of the fronts that's going to be moving in for the upcoming weekend. It's too far away for much of an influence today. So today, again, will be our hot day. Today's severe best, by the way, will be right along it, where we get that low tracking on the northern side of the front. So Chicagoland near St. Louis may get some gustier thunderstorms, maybe enough to organize for a watch or two. That's possible in that area. Tomorrow, the majority of the action goes to the north. The low itself will be tracking a complex of storms right into Cleveland, not far from Cedar Point, Sandusky, Ohio. It will have a boundary that will likely fire up storms on the southern flank into Kentucky. Now, here's what's interesting in the last 24 hours is that we've seen a little bit more of a promising sign for showers and storms to be a little more likely Saturday than they look on Sunday. So what we've done, and Tawana made this change this morning to at least dial back the Sunday chance to a 40%, to where the weekend right now is evenly matched, 40s for both days. But there is a chance that this boundary on Saturday is showing up on some of the high res now. Some of the longer term models like the Euro and GFS, they can't really see those finer details. But high res is starting to see the whole weekend now, and it can pick out what it thinks will be outflow boundaries or a boundary from the night before that may wake up. And now that it can see those, the storyline's coming together a little more that Saturday could be the more active day, and we may end up with still some thunderstorms on Sunday, but perhaps not as widespread as Saturday. If that makes sense. Rain chances for both days, and it's really going to be the heat afternoon type of stuff. The only exception to that, and Tina, this is going to go to your question because I just saw your question come up, is that the Saturday afternoon wave would linger for a while. It could actually be a little more nocturnal, lasting into much of the overnight, in fact. So right now, the Storm Prediction Center has this in a marginal risk, is why I want to mention it, and it's only for any type of thunderstorm that can collide with another thunderstorm. There could be some enhancement of the downburst winds. You get outflows coming from another direction that can create some downburst winds, a little bit of hail, but I'm not too worried on hail. It's quite hot, so most of the hail is going to be melting. But in general, I think the severe risk is going to be very, very isolated. All right, just don't be surprised if a warning or two goes out, and look for storms that may rapidly climb in height or collide with another storm. And then that's when you get your severe thunderstorm warnings for mainly wind, because you see that's the risk on Saturday, but on Sunday, that particular piece of energy is already gone. The front itself is now beginning to, because it sinks down, does its typical angle. Like here it is today in Chicago. Tomorrow, it's a little more tilted. And then as we get into Sunday into Monday, it's more like this. Very much elongated right across Kentucky, but it's lifting. And it's the western side of the front that actually has motion to it. It's becoming a warm front again and heading back toward St. Louis. And because the front starts to move, you start to create a sheared environment. So severe weather becomes more possible again just on the western side of the front here. Now, this could get extended a little more east. It wouldn't surprise me for Sunday if, or even into Monday, if that front has a little bit more of a motion to it. If it's a stalled front Sunday and doesn't do much, which is what it's leaning toward, I don't know if we're going to get much action at all. But as soon as it makes that jump back as in warm front again, we should see at least some chances for isolated severe. And mainly west looks fair right now just because of where the front will be lifting and on that side of it. So overall, no big severe risk into the weekend, just your typical summer stuff you get on monitor and babysit, which will be our job to do. Okay, so let me walk you through this hour by hour, and this is just one model's idea, so don't take it to be an exact there on timing, but it gives you an idea. Cape, again, fuel in the gold color, red, lower amounts of fuel, but still fuel. So this afternoon, I think these numbers are too low. It's got us at 90 at 3 o'clock. I think we'll be already at 93 about 3 o'clock today. This model doesn't always pick out the warm surges when we call it mixed into the atmosphere. It doesn't do it as well as other models can. So yeah, we hit 94 yesterday. We have a good chance to be about 94, 95 this afternoon. Can't rule out a pop-up, all right? Got to say that anytime you deal with the heat, Alan. But I just wouldn't be shocked if if a lot of you indeed end up with another dry day in the books. Okay, so we end up with a warm night tonight. Now, tomorrow is where things are a little different. You saw a brief hint of whatever happens in Chicago today produces this outflow. Notice there's no Cape in Springfield, Illinois at 5:30 in the morning on Saturday. But it's an obvious boundary that's right there along the Wabash. Okay, so that's the area to watch tomorrow morning to see what happens, because it should, based on that, now we have a bit of a boundary to work with here. Instead of your pop-up storms over the city, now we have an actual front. It is starting to then develop, and then as we head into Saturday afternoon and evening, it ignites into your showers and clusters of thunderstorms. And this is why I think Saturday may end up trending toward a more of a 60% chance of day. The way it's looking here, it's going to be hot before these things pop, and we could get up to 93, 94 again, and then they'll end up popping rapidly on the radar. But this is where the nocturnal part kicks in, because this is 8 o'clock in the early evening. Notice they do linger a bit, even all the way through the mid to late evening window. They just kind of linger across central Kentucky. Mainly just thunder, a rolling thunder, rain showers that may just keep regenerating. A very slow fade is what I think the trend will be here with these storms for Saturday night especially. So if you have plans Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, I think you're good. Saturday really through about, say, 1 or 2 o'clock, you're good. After 2 p.m. on Saturday, be ready for rapid development, especially between Louisville and Evansville, where that boundary is going to be sleeping and becomes awake. And then be prepared for at least off and on rain, I would say all the way through at least midnight, maybe even a bit later, before it finally starts to fade away. Now, once it does so, I think that's the area to watch for where they will likely try to pop again on Sunday, which would likely be right over us. But don't know yet how active that will be. If we end up too cloudy early on Sunday, then the second part here, when the front is tilted, may not be as active. Give us some time to fine-tune the rain chances on the weekend, though. We'll have more adjustments, but that's where we are at today on the storyline. And we're getting nitpicky here because some of us do need the rainfall. So we really want to try to give you that answer. You have a lot of outdoor plans, so we're trying to narrow it down a little bit more. And we'll be doing that on the newscast more so throughout the day today. Any questions on this setup before I get into the longer term that is coming our way? Just be weather aware this weekend. It is going to be hot. It is going to be humid when it's not storming. And just don't be mad if you are completely missed. And I do think there's a chance that some of you may not get a drop out of both potentials here for the weekend. You could get missed. It probably will be me because it usually is. But don't be mad. I mean being mad, but you don't have to get mad. All right, let's get into the longer term. All right, so here's the deal. The front, remember, is going to lift again on the western side and tilt back to the north as a warm front. Now, this creates a very interesting scenario that is when we talk about mini heat waves often, but this is going to be a true mini heat wave. A bubble of hot air is going to really try to build right into, I would say, maybe I-70, it's certainly I-64 and I-40, just in that southern part here of the United States into the Ohio Valley for maybe 36 hours, maybe 48, maybe. It's a very quick bubble of heat that comes into play. But the amount of moisture in the air, as you're about to see, is actually lower when this happens. So it's interesting. We could actually get, I'm not overly worried about the heat index as I am the actual numbers, could actually get up there into those mid-90s with that surge of heat. Very odd setup here, but the middle of next week could get quite hot. It will not last. Another front drops in as we head toward the end of next week. This one does have more of a kick to it. And I do think this one's going to be a little bit more of an issue when it comes to strong to severe storms. We'll worry about that later. It'll be roughly about a week from today that it'll move in. And then that sets the stage for what will eventually be some cooler pockets of air that'll be on the way to wave country. All right, looking at the profile for any wind. All right, I'll be showing this a lot. This is the Euro, showing you side profile of the atmosphere over time. This is this weekend into next week. You're looking at a time left to right. What I'm looking for are any blues, especially light blue, that drops down below, I don't know if you can see the numbers here, roughly 850 is going to be roughly in this general area. You may not be able to see my pen, so I'm sorry, but I'm looking for light blues that drop down. That's where we have to start watching for any severe potential or the idea that thunderstorms would have a tailpipe to them. And you notice the front for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there's not a lot here. It barely even registers. But the one for later next week into next Friday, yeah, there's a bit more of a kick to it. So I think if there's anything a little more organized, it would probably be a week from today. Other than that, there's not a lot of wind energy here, guys. So that's why we're not talking about a lot of severe weather, is that there is no tailpipe. So these kind of just bounce around and do their own thing. When you look at the moisture content in the atmosphere, we look at this to really see how high up it can stretch down to the ground level here. That's going to lead to problems when it comes to flash flooding if they move slow enough. And certainly the ones for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday both, a lot of high moisture content at play. Notice for the next week's heat wave, that bubble of heat, And it's going to be humid, but especially in the lower layers of the atmosphere, it's not as moisture latent there. So I think that's why the heat index may be okay, not be in danger territory, but we'll watch it. And then it builds back up at the front from a week from today with another round of showers and storms. So the extent does look quite stormy, mixed in with a heat wave or two overall. But then we get into the fun part, which will be the end of July. This is where, if all plays out, we could be in for a nice little bonus. The Jets will have a nice dip with the Hudson Bay Low is back at it again, and it will try to dip down right into areas of the Ohio Valley, keeping all the heat way to the southwest. Not the good news that the southeast wants to hear, because this is going to be a lot of thunderstorm action. Could even be something tropical like what Barry was like for Texas, or what Chantel was like for North Carolina. A slow-moving, lost tropical wave possible in this kind of a setup. But for us, we could score some bonus weather. I'm talking about temperatures that may go 5 to maybe even 10 below normal, which would be interesting. It's not within our 10-day yet, but I'm excited when it does show up, as long as it keeps holding in the forecast and I don't jinx it and it goes away. All right, here's your entire 10-day. There we go, 95 today again. We'll monitor the storm chances this weekend. Just don't be surprised if we end up with a change on the chances for storms in general Saturday and Sunday. Just stay close to the Wave Weather app, and especially for your particular area, and we'll kind of fine-tune that. Otherwise, the bubble of heat for the middle of the week, next week, and then storming again at the end, and then we'll hopefully get into a cooler and quieter setup. Mark, what did you say, Mark? Quiet weather for 1 week. That's all I asked, just 1 week. I agree. Quiet and not as hot, really. It's to the point where there's so many things I still want to take care of, but I need to at home anyway. But I need to be a little bit cooler, and I'm talking about things like, painting the deck, staining the deck. That is, typically a lot of people do that in the spring and the fall. I'm one of those lovely people that are not as organized, so I try to do it in the summer heat. Not a good idea. So I'm needing dry weather but cool weather, so I may have to wait until the fall, unfortunately. ZK, when did you say the showers start on Sunday? Well, I think we may start off cloudy on Sunday, ZK, but it will take until the clouds thin. If that's the case, and we are cloudy Sunday, once you see the sun out for a little bit, it will start to allow for enough heating, and it would take only until about 2 or 3 o'clock, and they'll begin to pop in the afternoon there. Carrie, I can't see you staining your own deck. I can't either. It's pretty... probably pretty dangerous for me to do it, to be honest. Especially when my pond is right up against the deck, so I almost have to strap on gear like I'm being a window washer and trying to do one side of it, yet I'm hanging over the pond. My coworkers would be very upset for me for doing that. Worried I'm going to fall, but hey, that's all right. I can swim. All right, guys, I'm going to stop rambling. Kind of a short one today, but it's Friday. You guys don't listen to me ramble. I want you guys to be safe this weekend. If you have outdoor plans, just stay close to these changes on these rain chances. I'm not overly comfortable in where they're at right now, but it's the best option I think we have to give you on the table for how this will play out. But I got a feeling this is going to keep evolving and changing, so just stay close. And we'll worry about the long term next week. As I told you guys, especially once we get past the weekend front here next week, we'll be spending a little more time on the outlook into August, and I'm going to go all the way through September. So you and I have a lot to talk about for next week. So hope you guys are excited for that. All right, have a good one, everyone. I will see you guys coming up at 11 a.m. on midday on the flip side. Otherwise, have a good and safe weekend, all right? Talk to you soon.